Oh my goodness! You want to learn how to build a desert? I got you. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for Battle Royale and creative content. I really enjoy both modes, so I'm doing videos on both of them. Enjoy the video. So today I'm going to teach you guys how to build a desert because, you know, biomes are neat and all, but the desert is my favorite. So I don't know if I'm going to teach you how to build snow areas, but I really like the desert. It's pretty self-explanatory in my opinion. So this is the same island that I did a terrain tutorial on. We're actually going to be using a lot of what I said in that video in this video. To start, what we're going to do is we are going to go to galleries. We're going to check terrain and we're going to check nature. You can have other things checked here, but these terrain and nature are like the two main things that we want here. Here the main things you want are the desert nature galleries and the arid cliff galleries. You're going to be using those the most. But we will be using some of the Pandora galleries along with the desert galleries and stuff. So keep that in mind too. But yeah, we're going to start off by opening the arid cliff gallery, and we're obviously we're going to get this one. This piece right here. We're going to go to grid snap 32. I'm going to push this away a little bit, and we're going to size this up to the absolute max. There you go. So we're going to have drops off. You know, I'm really not doing anything special here. And we're just going to place this as low as it can go. Now, if you actually do place it as low as it can go, you'll get grass sticking out the top. Now, I personally don't mind how this looks. You can still build fine. However, it's just, you know, some people might not like that, okay? So either go the lowest you can on grid snap 32 to the ground, or just, you know, have grass sticking out, which I don't mind, so I'm going to do that. Now, like this, I think it's a little too much. That's a little too much grass. So what I am going to do now is, you know, I'm just going to expand out this platform how I like it. And when I'm done with that, I'll be back, pretty much. So this is all I'm really doing right now, just placing this around. I'm going to try and make a small area as a desert because this isn't like a full-on map. But I'll be right back when I'm done, and yeah, that's it. Okay, so now that I have like my base area for a desert, obviously I would make this a lot bigger on an actual map because, you know, it's a whole biome. As you can see, it's kind of like jaggedy. So what you can do is you can actually take a piece and you can rotate it if you want. Make edges seem less jaggedy. And I personally think it looks somewhat better. You'll have bits sticking out here and there. I'm personally not going to bother with like these jagged edges, but there's one thing to every desert that I really think makes it stand out, and that is these like hills, very tall hills that are in deserts. So we're gonna replicate that with two different pieces. Basically, one thing you can do is just take this piece, obviously, and just build up a big hill, which works just fine. And I personally think that that still looks really good if, say, you build more pieces around it, kind of like this, kind of like that. And that's already looking pretty good. And you can do this if you want. Or there's another method that I really like. But before I show off that method, I want to talk about what I just did. I left this piece up here because it's very important that if you're building like a PvP map, player versus player, and you want them to be able to build on terrain like this, you want to have it level. You want to have your terrain level so you can easily build on it. You see, I have no issues building on this because I aligned it up with the top of this piece. You want to delete that after, obviously. But just keep that in mind because it's just important. You want your map to be good like that. Also, what I don't mind is, see how it's... If I place this down, you see how it's like kind of in the ground, but kind of not at the same time? I also don't mind that. Just keep that in mind. I'm going to tell you that every single time I teach you how to do... I mean, this is basically terrain, right? I'm going to tell you that every time. Okay. But on to the other, I guess, method. Now, you can take this piece, and I'm going to size it up a decent amount. A little bigger than that. Kind of like this. Right? And you're going to want to turn grid snap to 1. Because it just, if you turn grid snap to 1, it makes things a lot easier. And now you have a little hill that is pretty cool. Now you can multi-select this like that. And you can turn grid snap to 32 just like you can with every other piece in the game. But this is really good looking in my opinion, especially for a desert. Now if you want to make these taller, you can do that by lining up the top of the pieces with the bottom of the other piece. And look at that. I can even build somehow. I got that right. I didn't even mark things, but I got that right, which is pretty cool. Now, these look really good if you put a lot of them around your map. So I'm going to do that. Say we'll put one here. There. And we'll put another one right here. We'll make this one super tall. There you go. Put that like so. And then we can put 2 together so it looks neat. Another one right there. And we'll have another one to the side like that. I'm gonna delete these like that. And if you're curious, like, on what these will look like alone, that's how they will look. Now, if you're going to have elevation, you know, like, not just these, like, full-on terrain, I think it's pretty obvious that, you would want to use these pieces on the ground. This goes for, like, all terrain. Like that. So basically, if you want things to go off just this flat area, use these pieces and use these pieces as almost like decoration. That's pretty much desert terrain. But there is one thing that I like adding to a desert because it's available. And that is these Pandora rocks. So there's stuff like this, and you can obviously make like an archway using this. I don't want to do that though, so I'm going to delete that. But these rocks, like this, can be used in the ground, and it just makes the desert look a lot better in my opinion. You can't break the Pandora rocks, which is why I use the Pandora rocks. gonna flip this upside down to see what we can do. Do something like that. And just especially on the map, this one you can... This one, it's a little too big. I probably kind of overdid it with this one, kind of a little bit. But you get the idea. On the map it looks cool, and when you're just running around it looks cool. Now let's go on to the desert nature gallery. Now you can decorate your desert with everything here. But I will say one thing. Some of these have kind of consistent patterns, I guess you would call it. Like this cactus is the same every time. You really want to mix it up, and you don't want to overdo it, or else it'll just literally look like copy and paste. But you also want it to look kind of natural, right? So these rocks are really good to add, because you can actually break these. So we'll add a couple of these around. I'm not really going to overdo it, just adding a couple. They look kind of good when mixed with the terrain. So I added all my rocks in. Now, you don't have to add these, especially because you have the Pandora rocks, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go all out with this desert. Next up, I'm going to add trees. Now, these things look really good in a desert. I've made a few deserts without them, and it just didn't look right compared to when I actually had these trees in the desert. So, you know, you don't want to place that many, but you want to place enough so it looks good. Obviously, that goes with anything in creative mode. Now, it's already looking better, but every desert has to have cactus in it, right? So, with cactus, I don't like to add that many, but I like to add at least some, because it's a desert. A lot less than you would expect, and it still looks good. I like to use different types of cactus too, so instead of just using that one the whole time, I'm going to switch it up and add these. We'll add this one too. Could use one more cactus. Finally, I guess kind of a staple to deserts at this point is these dry bushes, these dead bushes. Don't add a lot, obviously, like every other plant we're adding. And there you go. There's a desert. That's how you make a desert biome. Obviously, I made a super small one. But I think it's pretty cool, man. Like, you know, you can run over here. It's easy to build. I think that's a very important thing when it comes to terrain. You want the terrain easy to build on. So, like, if we come up here, super easy to just get going. You know, our wall isn't, like, halfway in the ground. Here's a perfect example of what not to do. Okay, don't do building like this. Like, it's still possible to have a good fight like this, but it's just for convenience sake. You notice every single POI in the Battle Royale map, you can build easy on. Basically, it's lined up perfectly so you can easily build a wall that isn't halfway in the ground. I can't stress enough how important it is to actually, you know, not have walls sticking halfway in the ground and ramps, and floors won't even be able to be placed. So, I guess that's all. Again, I don't just do creative content here. I do Battle Royale and creative, and if you're interested in any of those, consider hitting the subscribe button and liking the video, because giving likes helps a lot more than you think. It really helps with the algorithm. And I'll see you in the next one. That's how you make a desert. And yeah, bye.